For decades, a persistent internet conspiracy has suggested that the writers of The Simpsons possess supernatural foresight or a literal glowing crystal ball. Fans point to an uncanny track record of corporate forecasting, like a 1998 joke that saw 20th Century Fox becoming a division of Walt Disney, a merger that occurred exactly as predicted 20 years later. It happened again with Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime performance. The show animated her flying over the crowd on wire cables, 5 years before she actually took the stage. In 1998, Homer scribbled a random equation on a chalkboard. 14 years later, physicists at this particle accelerator discovered the Higgs boson and found that Homer's math was nearly identical to the particle's actual mass. The series' most famous prophecy arrived in the 2000 episode Bart to the Future. It mapped out a Donald Trump presidency, including the resulting budget crisis, 16 years before he was elected.
When the volume of accurate hits is this high, it raises a question about the specific mechanical process occurring inside the writer's room. How does a cartoon consistently map out the future? The truth is that the writers are not psychics. They are simply obsessive, cynical observers of societal trends. To understand the Bart to the Future prediction, you have to look at writer Dan Greeny and the political climate of the year 2000. In the real world, Donald Trump was exploring a third-party presidential run with the Reform Party. The idea was already part of the national conversation. Greeny didn't see a Trump presidency as a random guess. He pitched it as the logical last stop before hitting bottom for an American public he felt was going insane. This wasn't a prophecy, it was an extrapolation. The writers took an existing news cycle and pushed it to its most absurd conclusion, demonstrating how effective satire can be at forecasting. The writer's formula relies on 3 distinct inputs. First, historical precedent. Most of their future tech didn't invent new concepts, it spoofed existing ones. This vintage desktop video telephone system proves the framework for video calls and smartwatches was already decades old. The writers were simply drawing technologies that had been in development or fiction for years. The second factor is human absurdity. The show accurately guessed that people would buy tickets to space, or that thieves would steal restaurant cooking grease for profit, because vanity and greed are predictably constant. The final and most important factor is the law of averages, often disguised by a phenomenon called survivorship bias. We forget the show's many failures, like the discovery of Bigfoot, colonies on Mars, or the replacement of goodbye with smell you later. Survivorship bias creates the illusion of prophecy. We ignore the hundreds of logical darts that missed the wall and focus only on the few that struck the bullseye. At some point, the relationship between the show and our reality inverted. Modern society gradually morphed into a parody of itself. Tragic events now mirror the show's cynical plots with startling precision. The 2023 Titan submersible implosion felt like a direct echo of a 2006 episode where Homer becomes trapped during an ocean expedition. It happened again in Argentina, where a 3-eyed wolffish was caught near a reservoir fed by a nuclear power plant, a real-world version of Blinky, the 3-eyed fish Bart found near Mr. Burns' plant in 1990. The writers themselves seem disturbed by how often reality catches up to their darkest jokes. After the 2016 election, the show featured a chalkboard gag that simply read, "Being right sucks." The genius of The Simpsons isn't clairvoyance. It is a masterful understanding of human nature.
If you study the absurdities of society closely enough, the future effectively writes itself.